everybody. It's Allie, and welcome to the sextillionth edition of our Y&R Chat for Sunday, September 18th, 2022. Can you believe what that Sally Spectra has done this time? She missed a meeting. Well, actually, Sally didn't just miss a meeting. She missed a summit. That sounds way bigger and way more important. Big scandal, big shocker of the week. Sally missed a meeting. So last week, while Sally and Adam were at the dive bar getting all hot and bothered over forgiveness, lustily looking at each other, practically drinking each other in with every breath, Sally was supposed to be giving a big presentation with Chloe. So big, this presentation was, that the fact that Sally wasn't there enraged half the company. A bunch of angry little tattletales had to run back to their laptops and fire off angry emails to Victoria about how her CEO missed a meeting. I mean, summit. Well, Victoria sent Nick to scold Sally about it, but he slept with her instead. And then he slept with her again just for good measure. Just to make sure he got it all right the first time. You know, Nick just wanted to cross his I's and dot his T's. He's thorough. Oh, yeah. Nick has been gabbing all around town for weeks now about how he really understands Adam a whole lot better now. I guess he also understands Adam's choice in woman a little bit better now, too. Oh, and I mean, Sally's really just choosing to put a big old sex band-aid over her broken heart. Both of them really, I think, just desperate for a distraction and kind of reaching out for something that provides some instant gratification. So, what do you think about this, Y&R Chatters? Nick and Sally, I mean, are they on fire for you? Were you feeling the heat? Or do you think this is all just cold comfort? YRChat.com, that's our poll question for the week. Oh, you know, I'm kind of bummed about it all. I've ever since I saw the Nick and Sally hookup coming, I mean, it's been weeks now, I've just been kind of bummed about it. It's not my favorite. But I also realize that sleeping with the brother of the guy that you're in love with is actually a totally solid life choice when you're a soap opera character. Because, number one, let's be honest, that gave us some good, strong, messy drama to talk about, didn't it? That got some conversation flowing. Adam did something to hurt Sally, so she turns around and does something that hurts him. It's the soap opera way. Now they can call it Even Steven and move on to have a December wedding. I don't know, probably. Probably not. Oh, but number two, I mean, they seem to be having a good time, didn't they? I can't quite begrudge them that. It's, you know, it's it's sex. I can't get too uptight about it. It was consensual. Not, no one was cheating. There's no marriages being broken up here. And, number three, Nick's no slouch. It's not like he's the ugly brother. He's not like the one-eyed, peg-legged brother with bad teeth. He's hot too. It's not like he's got stink lines coming off of him or anything. He's hot too. But, I'll tell you, that very first sex scene in The Office was scandalous. I don't know about you, but I kind of almost had to look away. Maybe you had different reasons for needing to look away, but it almost, for me, felt racier than usual, and I can't quite pinpoint why. I just think Y&R has gotten a whole lot better at making sex look real. It looked real. They were intertwined, or so it appeared. And Sally was right on top of Nick when Adam showed up at the door, knocking on the door. And there was this great, great moment, you guys, where Nick and Sally both simultaneously realized that someone's knocking on the door. It's Adam. Sally, while on top of Nick, put her finger right over his lips. And then they both froze, listened for when Adam was gone, and then went right back to it without missing a beat. Gosh, I got a great screen cap of that moment, just with her finger over his lips. Ooh. Well, Adam's thinking, do I hear a squeaky couch in there? Yeah, you do. And it's naughty. It was very, very naughty. But, I also have to give Nick credit, because he was a real gentleman. Because it went like this. Sex, then dinner, then he walked her home. That's a refreshing change right there. Because usually it goes dinner, walk home, and then the sex. So we are mixing it up with Nick and Sally, and in this moment, we were keeping it fresh. I kept thinking that Sally was probably wanting Nick to just go away now. It was like they were still together trying to justify it or something. Like, okay, well, if we just don't, run away, then we can somehow make this be legit. But I felt like he was kind of following her around for the rest of the night, and she probably wanted him to go away. Of all the places that they decide to go right afterwards, they go to society, where they end up running into Adam. Nick and Sally had to act like nothing happened, which would have been hard enough without Adam sitting there. But then Adam is like, hey guys, what's going on? You guys want to hang out and have some appetizers? I just came from helping some old ladies across the street. I'm famished. So what are you guys up to? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And then Adam showed up at her hotel room later after she just had that great mirror, mirror on the wall moment. Oh, I loved that. Adam tried again to apologize to her, and he again asked for her forgiveness, and he again confessed his love for her and said that he hopes that he can earn her love back someday and have a relationship with her someday. But for Sally, I guess it's all too late. She's made her choice. I do wonder, though, would her reaction to Adam's plea in the hotel room that night have been any different if she hadn't just slept with Nick? Hypothetical question. Let's say that Sally did miss the meeting and she's, flustered and all that's still there. Everything that's in her head and her insecurities is still there. But that sex with Nick didn't happen. Would she still have seen it all as a wake-up call that Adam is a distraction from the career that he wanted her to have? Or would she have slept with Adam that night in her hotel room instead of having sex in her hotel room with Nick again the next day? That's my question. If the initial Nick sex hadn't happened, would her reaction to Adam's confession of love have been any different? I don't know. Now at the end of Friday's show, Adam's at the door again, and this time there's nowhere to hide. Sally and Nick thought that they were getting a tray of room service, and they fling open the door and are realizing now that they're about to get a steaming serving of Adam's rage. That was a really great Mark Grossman moment, too, at the end of Friday's show, because Adam's face went from puppy dog to Cujo in about a blink of an eye. Some might say that Nick and Sally's sex sesh was the dramatic highlight of the week. But for me, it was Victor walking right past his chessboard and into his boxing room where he kicked that heavy bag's ass. That just made my year. I mean, we haven't seen Victor and his wah-wah-wahs in years. Victor used to wah-wah like every week, and then he traded it for chess. So I'm just absolutely thrilled to see that Victor is in fighting form. I mean, he always does punchy fists, and this week we actually saw him punching something. I mean, that's not an easy sport either. And Eric Braden's like 80 years old. I mean, that's something that takes a lot of stamina. And I really liked seeing that he's in good shape, and I liked seeing him just go to town on the heavy bag. And then afterwards, he sat down and he just took this long, slow, deep breath, and it all felt very natural. I thought it was just cool. I think Eric Braden is the man. If you've ever read his book, I mean, he's an interesting guy too. He's done a lot of stuff. I mean, he is a fighter. So it's cool to be able to see that on screen. I'm glad we got it. It's been a while. Gosh. Well, it's also been a really good long while since we had a good long Victor and Jack scene, and we got that this week too. Victor finally got around to hashing out Adam's new job title with his former rival, and I really thought that those scenes were as dynamic as ever. Peter Bergman, Eric Braden, they're dynamic together. Even if nobody threw a chair through a window, just them sitting and talking is so compelling. They're two masters of their craft, masters of this particular, art form of entertainment, and I really loved those scenes. Victor told Jack, look, Adam only took your job because he thought that it was going to get a rise out of me. And once he realizes that it won't get a rise out of me, then he's going to be done with it. He's going to be done with you, and he's going to move on. I thought that was a really interesting warning coming from coming from Victor to Jack, because he was almost making it sound like it was a warning against Jack, but then it turned out he's almost saying, look, I'm looking out for you. Be aware that my son's going to leave you high and dry, but either way, I don't really care because I'm done with him, which is ridiculous. And Jack picked up on it. Jack said, oh, really? I think I know you well enough to know that that's not true. You're never going to be done with Adam. And, I mean, no matter what either of them say, Victor or Adam, the truth is Victor's never going to be done with Adam, and Adam's never going to be done with Victor either. Another pleasant surprise for the week, we had some Nikki and Victor romance. She's preparing for her trip to LA, and she's buzzing around the living room looking for her charger, and like a smooth criminal, Victor just turns on the stereo system real slick-like, and then effortlessly pulls her into a dance and a snuggle. That was smooth. I think it's just really good that Y&R took the time to lay this groundwork too for the upcoming crossover, because Deacon was a truly toxic influence in Nikki's life. He was working with that Maggie, played by Sean Young. He was working with this other woman to keep Nikki and Victor apart, but he was also keeping her off of the sobriety wagon. Like, he was intentionally baiting her into drinking. And yeah, I totally forgot that she also married him. I mean, that was wrong. You guys think Nick and Sally just sleeping together was wrong? Nikki and Deacon being married was wrong. Ugh. But I liked when Nikki said, well, I'm just not that person anymore. The phrase of all phrases. I'm just not that person anymore. But it might be true. I mean, at least partially, because the days of Nikki and Victor hurting each other are over. They've passed that baton to the younger generation. Nikki and Victor are now in a stable place, and I don't want to forget to celebrate that, because even just having them talk about and reminisce about the bad times as well as the good is really significant, and I enjoyed them this week. I also don't want to forget to mention that I was a full week off about when the Bold and the Beautiful crossover will happen, which I guess 59% of you are going to be watching it, according to last week's poll. I thought that the crossover was supposed to start this past Tuesday, but apparently it's going to start this upcoming Tuesday. It's not my fault, though. My intern got it wrong. I'm thinking of firing her, or maybe I'll just sleep with her instead. Diane is usually such a cool customer. I really enjoy the few occasions where we've seen her lose that cool. And when she came flying into the Abbott mansion this week, declaring to Summer and Kyle that Phyllis was setting her up, she was acting anything but cool. Diane had found some high-priced invoice on her for Marquetti Home on her own computer, and I guess that's something that should not have been there. She didn't put it there. And so Diane theorized that Phyllis was using her IT whiz skills to plant this on Diane's computer and set her up for, I don't know, doing something financially shady. And that may be true. We all know that Phyllis is up to something. But as Summer very smartly points out, the opposite may be true too. I mean, what if Diane planted the invoice herself to make it look like Phyllis was setting her up? Diane could have been setting Phyllis up for setting her up. That's quite a tangled web to weave. And I really appreciate it. Well, Diane chose not to share her sabotage theory with Jack, though. I thought that was very wise on her part. Let's just not mention this whole thing to Jack. It only works against her. It only makes her look paranoid. Diane had fallen asleep upstairs reading Harrison a book, and she tried tiptoeing out the front door late one night, but Jack was still awake doing some work down in the living room, and he invited her to stay. He said, do you want to have a nightcap? Ooh! I mean, Jack is either very lonely, or he is seriously starting to fall for Diane's charms. Maybe both. Maybe he's lonely and he's falling for Diane's charms. Oh, I couldn't possibly have a drink after the day I've had. I'll just have a hot tea and a rosary. She plays it all so well. She's so damn charming. I mean, who wouldn't fall under Diane's spell? Jack even offered to let her stay in one of the spare rooms instead of having to drive home. Oh no, I wouldn't want to impose. Oh my gosh. I think Diane is playing the long game here with Jack, and it's just fantastic. I hope that she gets everything she wants and more. But I'm also kind of worried that she's going to end up getting what's coming to her, according to Nikki and Phyllis. Chance is going to show Chelsea some breathing exercises, all right. I think we can all see the writing on this wall. Maybe Abby subconsciously too. She had a nightmare that he left her to go away on another police mission, which is a real concern to have considering he's done it before. But that's not even the worst of it. I mean, if Chance left her to go away on a mission, that's something she could see coming. But what if he ends up leaving her for Chelsea? I mean, I can kind of see it. Maybe Chance will start to feel friendship with Chelsea, camaraderie with Chelsea, and then start to develop some romantic feelings for her. I don't know, if Chelsea and Chance are going to have an affair, then I guess I need Chance to be the initiator, because if Chelsea starts coming on to him, I'm going to be mad at her, because it bothers me that it just feels like Chelsea's getting storyline scraps. Like, just pop Chelsea into the middle of somebody's marriage. It was gonna be Sharon and Ray. Maybe it'll be Summer and Kyle. No, why not Abby and Chance? Obviously something's still going on with Michelle Morgan. I don't care if it looks like she's just on vacation or something. Something's going on there for this long of an extended absence. And you can kind of tell that they're opening up the possibility of Abby and Devon. I mean, Abby can go seek comfort from Devon, and Chance can have his little affair with Chelsea or whatever. I don't know. I guess I don't know. I kind of don't want to see Abby and Chance breaking up so soon. I don't want to see Abby get dogged by Chance. I don't want to see Chelsea coming on to a married man. And I don't want to see Chance dogging Abby by having an affair on her. I kind of like Chance and Abby together. We've been through so much with the recast and the absence of Chance that I feel like I'm finally getting used to him. We got those really great therapy scenes with him. I feel like I've finally been able to connect with him. I think that the two actors have really good chemistry. Abby and Chance together, it's good. I just kind of want to leave them alone for now. I actually even have really grown to like the actor who plays Chance. I think he seems very natural, and I think they seem very natural as a couple. Can't they just be happy for a little while longer? At some point, hasn't everybody kind of dreamed about quitting their job and telling off their boss? Well, this week, Nate got to do just that, and it was pretty fun to watch. Well, I'm not saying that he's in the right. I'm just saying it was fun to watch. I love all the facial expressions. The more Nate gets a chance to talk and do things, the more I like him, which is, it's usually opposite. Normally, the more I see of someone, the less I like them. But my opinion of him has actually grown. The worse the character has got, the more my liking of the actor has grown. Well, Devon gets back from his trip, and they decided to hash things out right then and there, like late one night at the office. Probably should have slept on it. Because it just ended up spiraling into the same old argument that they've been having. It was nothing new. And Nate got up into Devon's face and said, "What do you want to do, Devon? Hit me?" And it was almost like Nate was trying to provoke Devon, like he wanted Devon to hit him again so that then he could have an excuse to hit him back. And it just reminded me that, okay, it's really easy to point out Devon's ego and how he's maybe threatened by Nate. But, I mean, Nate is definitely bringing his own deep-seated resentment to the table. And it's the second time that he said, "Oh, what are you gonna do, hit me?" I mean, it's childish, and it's beside the point. Except it is the point. It's entirely the problem. It's entirely the point. Billy actually had to step in and break up what looked almost like it was going to be a fight. And then Billy kind of stepped out and handed the problem over to Lily. And I really feel for Lily in this situation, especially after Friday when she was talking about Neil and his legacy and her reasons for wanting to make this company a success. Lily's been trying to figure out a way that she can, well, not only save the family business, but to save the family too. Lily tried again to get Devon and Nate to work together, to play nice, especially now that Jill is wanting to take the company public. Ding, 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 ding. But Nate wasn't having it. He just said, "I'm done, I quit, I'm out," and Devon didn't stop him. Nate then went to society and he had like 3 meetings. 3 people came on in and he met with them. First was Imani. And Imani's always right there to coax the ruthless behavior, telling him in fact he needs to be more ruthless. Then Nate had a conversation with Nick where they were talking about the difference between being ambitious and being malicious. And Nate seemed to be embracing the "I should do whatever it takes to succeed in business" mentality. But then Elena, who, like Lily, is trying to save the family. She understands the family dynamics and also has, I think, some guilt over the fact that the family dynamics are what they are, since a lot of it is rooted from the affair that she and Nate had. Elena comes to society and talks to Nate to get the update. And he told her off screen, I thought this is a really interesting choice and a cool way to build anticipation. He told her off screen that he was planning some kind of unnamed retaliation, and Elena said that night at society and then in bed the next morning that what he's planning is a threat to his integrity. It's wrong. But Nate says, then why does it feel so right? Why does it feel completely right? Then, on Friday, Nate shows up at Victoria's office door looking like the cat who was about to eat the canary, and he tells Victoria that he's willing to be her inside man to help her acquire shares of Chancellor Winters so that Newman Enterprises can buy up majority holdings and take over the company. And all for what, Nate? A job that Victoria was already gonna give him? Way to go, genius! She was already gonna give you a job. She practically told you that. You didn't have to sell the family down the river to get it. You just want a job, a control of a company, and you're willing to sell out the family, including Lily, to get it? To get what you were already going to be given. It's just, bravo, Nate, bravo. Oh, man. So does that mean that Devon was right all along? I mean, if Nate could go nuclear and sabotage the company like this, then maybe Devon was right to clip his wings? Or, I don't know, maybe this is a monster that Devon created. I don't know. I mean, Devon's not responsible for Nate's actions. I don't know. Early in the week, Billy offered his opinion on the whole thing to Lily, and he said, well, maybe Devon is being unfair to Nate, and maybe it's because he's jealous. I mean, Devon has become really used to being someone who has shined in business. I mean, he keeps wanting to tout his decades of experience in the industry. He's been, working since he was a teenager, he said this week. And maybe now that Nate has come along and he's shining so instantly is something that hurts Devon's ego. And that really seemed to change Lily's perspective on the conflict. And so she pretty much reiterated those words to Devon, and she seemed to get through to him a little bit. She seemed to be able to get Devon to realize that maybe he does like to have the control a little bit too much, and that maybe there's some growth in here for him too, that maybe he has been a little bit stubborn, and that maybe he should let Nate try, even if that means letting Nate fail. Let him learn some lessons the hard way. Well, I think Nate is definitely about to learn some lessons the hard way because, by the way, Victoria also has a strong relationship with both Billy and Lily that was bolstered this week. I mean, you better believe Victoria would not think twice about double-crossing Nate. I feel most alive when I'm swimming upstream. That was our quote from last week. It was Billy who said that. He was talking to Chelsea about choosing his career as a COO as opposed to podcasting. Podcasting's easy to him, but choosing to do something that's a little more challenging to him makes him kind of feel alive. When there's a challenge, that's when he feels most alive. That really does sound like Billy, pretty descriptively. So only 6 people guessed it, though. I'm a little surprised, but so I got to give extra congratulations to Henry, Daisy, Tanya, Brittany, Victoria, and Sue W. You guys guessed it right. But can you do it again? Who said this? Short and sweet. People are replaceable. Who said it? People are replaceable. If you think you know, go to yrchat.com, and if you get it right, I will give you your shout out during next week's Y&R Chat. And now onto your comments, starting with Ellen, who asks, "Are you sleeping with my brother?" A question there is no good answer for if you're Sally. Even a lie isn't gonna work. Adam sees what is happening. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to see how she answers that question. Are you sleeping with my brother? Well, of course, she's not gonna lie. She has to say yes. I think she's going to tell the truth. I do. I don't think she's gonna bold-faced deny it when it's so obvious. The question is, how hard is she gonna twist the knife about it? Does she want to hurt Adam? Or, I don't know. That's a good question. Do you think Sally wants to consciously hurt Adam with what she's doing? I hadn't really thought about it in those terms. I guess I sort of imagined that it was Sally thinking about Sally and thinking about what would feel good to her and her heartache. And, Nick pretty much the same thing. Not really thinking about Adam, just thinking about what feels good in the moment. So there's the question. Do you think that Sally did this with any part of her mind knowing that it would hurt Adam? And also, do you think that Adam is going to forgive her? Is he going to think, all right, well, she hurt me, I hurt her, is he going to be able to move past it? Or is this just going to be a bridge too far for him that maybe pushes him into another direction, like, oh, I don't know, Sharon? Tina says, I'm starting to think that Sally is purposely pushing Adam too far the way he did to her. She knew it would be a point of no return to make sure that she could not go back to him and put herself in that position again. Oh, that's interesting, Tina. So it's like a fail-safe. So you think that she did it because she knew Adam wouldn't forgive it, and then she wouldn't be tempted. She wouldn't continually be tempted to go back to him. Oh, that's interesting. Well, Sue W. points out that Sally definitely now can't sell Nick sex as one-time vulnerable moment. Oh, I love this point, I just had to pluck it out because that is really, really key here. She cannot say, yeah, I slept with Nick one time and it was a bad idea. When she turned around and did it again, I mean, now it enters into the territory of knowing and wanting. And who knows, maybe there were different motivating factors to the first time versus the second time. I mean, maybe the first time did feel like a weird, vulnerable moment. I mean, Nick initiated it. Nick grabbed her hand and held on really long. And maybe she felt like, oh, here's just somebody who's willing to be kind to me and understand me, and then let's feel good together. But then maybe the second time she was feeling a little more motivated toward hurting Adam or revenge or something. I mean, we don't know yet. We need her to talk a little bit about it, and she kind of needs a friend who would be able to give her some better advice than what Chloe's been giving. I mean, Chloe is there to listen, but she always has an agenda. Chloe's agenda is always right there. It's always really clear. She's not really someone who Sally can talk to, and the person who Sally was trying to talk to, she now got tangled up with, Nick. You know, I mean, Nick was there to be someone that she could express these feelings to in a safe way, and now she's made it more complicated. Jamie, I love this comment, says, the impulse to hit the self-destruct button in response to despair, shock, grief, feelings of betrayal and humiliation when your significant other tosses you and your heart away, seemingly out of nowhere, can simply be too strong to fully resist. Consciously, one can fight the pull of destruction, but subconscious choices are a completely different story. I'm filled with nothing but compassion and understanding for Sally. I'm rooting for her to heal and find true happiness within herself. Jamie, this is my favorite comment of the week. I think you come from a mental health background. I want to say that you mentioned that you work in a mental health field. And so that is just the most beautiful comment on this whole situation because, you know, we all hurt. At the end of the day, we all hurt. And we all reach for the things that will make that hurt go away, you know, and whether it is conscious or subconscious, and maybe that's the level that we're dealing with here on the topic of whether Sally did it on purpose. Maybe it was a subconscious, you know, thing. But yeah, I mean, we all are looking for that thing that will make us feel better, and some days it's easier to fight it, and some days it's not. And, you know, some people might reach for something like sex. Other people might reach for alcohol or drugs or food or, you know, I mean, there's a million different ways that we soothe ourselves when we're hurting. And deep down, I do think that's what Sally is doing. And, you know, the other thing is we really have seen her confidence take a nosedive. I mean, Adam, in his mind, did what he did because he wanted her to prioritize the career. But now he's kind of, you know, he's backpedaling on that and wanting her to be open to taking the relationship back. And I think she had maybe gotten to a point where she had accepted, I'm going to focus on my career. Okay, fine, I can't have Adam. That's all over. I'm going to focus on my career. And she was doing well. But now, yeah, now that she's kind of going back into the place where she got hurt, that has undermined her confidence where her career is. And yeah, you can just tell she doesn't trust herself anymore. She's just not making good decisions. And she said that, you know, she said that this week, that, you know, when she was arguing against Adam, she was saying, you know, it's toxic. I want to focus on my career and you are a distraction from that. And so I just think she's lost. You know, at the end of the day, it's sort of like Chelsea in a way. I mean, she's just a lost person. And like you, I feel like I want her to find some happiness. And that's not something that she's going to find outside of herself. She's not going to find it in Adam. She's not going to find it in Nick. And she's not going to find it anywhere else outside of herself. So this is just a wonderful point. Kamna says, Nick, this is good, is hardly the good guy everybody's making him out to be. He was an absolute jerk the way he acted after he and Sally hooked up, and a creep for instigating it, knowing that she was vulnerable. And he got let off the hook too easy for punching Ashland. Let's not forget that Victoria wasn't even in the room when Nick punched him. The guy is reckless and really belongs with the disaster that is Phyllis. Oh, calm down. Okay, well, first of all, I was really puzzled by Nick's text to Sally. I thought she didn't seem to be bothered by it, but I thought, well, this is a weird thing to say. Like, he tried to all of a sudden make it like, I'm still the boss. So, and I that's how I took it, but I thought maybe I was just misinterpreting, but you're mentioning it. So that makes me think, well, you know what? Maybe that was a weird thing to say. Like, CEOs miss meetings. So I'm kind of trying to not make you feel bad, but also keep me in the loop next time. I'm reestablishing my power or my my seniority, or I don't know. You know, Nick is probably upset with himself too. I mean, him taking this job is very different for him. He hasn't wanted to work at Newman Enterprises his whole life. This is not his dream career. But the thing happened with Ashland, and I think he, like Sally, is just reaching for something, anything to make himself feel better. And so maybe he started to, I don't know, harden back up in that moment when he sent the text. Maybe Nick realized that he too was vulnerable in that moment, and so that's why he immediately kind of armored back up and sent that text message. But I like the point that you think Nick's kind of icky here because he knew she was vulnerable. The counter argument to that, though, is that he himself was vulnerable, and maybe that's why it happened, you know. But this is a good a really good point that Nick is, you know, I mean, I guess, well, it's hard to say who shoulda, who shouldn't have stopped it, or should they have stopped it at all? I mean, it's just sex. It's just so sex. Happens all the time. But Sherrod says, I was wondering, since Nick is Sally's boss, could this become a sexual harassment issue? You know, I think that's a fair question. I mean, she would probably have to say something, or maybe Chloe would say something. I don't know. But, I mean, you know, since everybody works, that's mostly where we see these people, either restaurants or in a work scenario. It's kind of hard to get around the fact that, you know, there is the sexual harassment potential. And it's kind of not the same as it used to be. I don't know if it seems like more of a conversation that we have now as opposed to in the past where it's like, oh yeah, they had sex on the desk. That's just what happens. But now with our more modern sensibility, we're very aware of that power dynamic. And there's no doubt about it, Sherrod. Nick has it. Sally doesn't have it. And so there has to be a question of appropriateness there. I mean, it's inappropriate. There's no doubt about it. Diana asks, I wonder how Summer will react when she finds out that her dad is sleeping with the enemy. Nick seemed to have quickly forgotten what Sally did to Summer, his daughter. I don't know if Summer even knows that Sally works with Nick and Victoria and that she holds the title of COO. What would Summer have to say about all of this? Yeah, I think Summer really hasn't had a whole lot of interactions with Sally lately, right? So I mean, I'm sure Y&R could ramp that back up and make Summer have a negative reaction about it. Did Nick ever find out that Summer slept with Billy? I don't think he did. So yeah, maybe this is a secret that will stay safe just like that. I mean, yeah, I mean, as a daughter, I wouldn't want to find out about anybody who my dad slept with. No thanks, let alone the fact that she's someone I don't like. Tina Cole says, I feel like Sally and Adam have way more chemistry than Nick and Sally. The love scene felt a little forced to me. How they jump from handshake to need to have sex with you now sex? Maybe because there was more of a build-up for Adam and Sally. I'm still rooting for Adam and Sally to have a reunion. Also, it's been a while since Nick has had sex scenes, and since Nick loves sex, his brain was thinking, need sex now. You know who also loves sex in video games? Phyllis. Yeah, let's just say Nick's never been quite known for his deep thinking skills. I think we could all pretty much take a swing of a guess on where Nick's brain was in that moment. But I agree with you. I felt that the chemistry was more between Adam and Sally than Nick and Sally. And you may be right that it was just more quick. I mean, the buildup really wasn't there. It just happened. But Tina says, well, Josh Morrow sure showed that he is an old pro at this soap opera stuff. Well, Mark Grossman was always so polite and appreciative of the hairdresser's painstaking attempts of having Sally's every wave in the perfect place, the perfect shape. He was always mindful and would only pat Courtney's head in just the right place to make sure she always looked amazing. Mark was always conscious of where his hands were, never invading Courtney's space. Joshua had Courtney's hair all over her face, on top of her head. He was running his hands pretty low on that blanket, under the blanket, all over the legs, upper thighs. Bravo, that's how it's done. That's a funny point. And maybe that's why I thought it was more of a scandalous scene. I've been trying to put my finger on why did that scene feel so much racier? And maybe you just hit it. Just that, yes, maybe there was something a little more polite and sensual about Adam and Sally versus the messiness of Nick and Sally. And that works to the story, though, too. You're right. I mean, Josh Morrow certainly knew what he was doing, what was going for there. And I guess some of it felt a little clunky to me. There were some points where I was like, oh, this, but maybe it's what you're pointing out, that it's just more like it was messy. And it was physically and emotionally messy. Great observation. That's also another really fun point of the week, to think about the nature of the lovemaking scenes between Adam and Sally versus Nick and Sally. They're very, very different. Because I did notice that Josh Morrow was not afraid to move her head. He was not afraid to get into the hair, not afraid of any of that. I mean, you gotta admit, he is an old pro. I mean, he was practically born on soap opera. He was a baby. Look at his baby face when he came onto the show. I mean, this is Y&R is his whole life. He's never even been off the show for that long. So, I mean, this is what he knows. This is his industry. This is his, this is his area of expertise. Sex scenes are Josh Morrow's kind of area of expertise. He's done a lot of them. And the Nick character, as we said, is very sexual. He likes sex. So I think it's good to know that Eric Braeden can still box and Josh Morrow can still sex. Well, what is Chloe going to say when she finds out that Sally has further complicated her work-life balance, shall we say? Ellen says, if I were Sally, Chloe would be fired as of today. No notice. She is so out of line and obnoxious. Chatters have a problem with Nate taking too much initiative on the job. How about Chloe questioning Sally's every move in her personal life and lambasting her for missing a meeting? Bye, girl. You are so fired. Yeah. We're going on and on about how totally out of line Nate is. Meanwhile, Chloe, Laura says simply, Chloe needs a better storyline. There's more to her. And yeah, I mean, I can't say it any better. We all know. I mean, we're all sort of, I think, collectively, Chloe, come on. It's so one note. It's just so one note. It's just her character, it's all the same thing, except instead of being directed at Chelsea, now it's directed at Sally. There's more to her. But, it's interesting that Chloe apologized to Sally this week. She went and got some pastries and apologized to Sally and said, I'm not going to do it anymore. Then by the end of the episode, she was texting Sally, Adam's looking for you. This has to end. Why are you controlling her personal life? I actually really thought, maybe we're getting the turn for Chloe's character and we're kicking it off with Italian pastries, but no, it didn't last very long. Sue W., I love this, says, Chloe always looks so put together and pretty. I'm not posting to rehash or bash what she is or isn't doing or has or hasn't done. Rather, I'm just appreciating how fresh and stylish she always appears these days. I love the actress and always enjoy seeing her play the heck out of however her character is written. Always a fan here. Yeah, I mean, I love Elizabeth too, and you're right. She is so pretty and so put together, and I love her hair. She just has cute little choppy short hair. Maybe that's the hair I should have. And her outfits are very crisp and put together, and yes, I totally agree, and I think that's why we want more for her, because the actress is so superb. Well, Gary says, wasn't that some great dialogue when Adam paid a visit to Victoria's office, where she confirmed for him that she's barely human? I can't quote her exact words that lead to Adam ending up saying to her, "You who only move forward and pretend you left no destruction in your wake." He has captured Victoria exactly. And why wouldn't she be so callous when about everyone in town affirms her doing this? For me, that was the killer line of the week. Yeah. I do love Adam and Victoria going at it. And, while we're appreciating the actress Chloe, let's appreciate Amelia Heinle here, too, because if the idea, she's doing her job. The idea is to give you cold and callous, and especially in those scenes with Adam, she's doing what she's being asked to do, and she's giving it to you. It's all right there. I really like the actress. Nobody plays it like her. I think she's hitting the nail on the head for what Y&R is wanting her to do. Sue W. also says, did I miss Johnny or somebody making a balloon animal in Victoria's office? What the heck is that light blue thing on the coffee table? Well, maybe it's been there forever or already explained. I don't know. But if it's a high-end sculpture of sorts, my very low-end eye still sees it as something a kid might bring home from a birthday party. A Marchetti home makeover may be in order. Yeah, I noticed the balloon animal too this week. I don't know if I've ever seen it before, but I think it's because was it when Nick was sitting on the couch? Yeah, it was kind of hard to not notice it. It's like it looks like a glass light bulb morphed into a balloon animal shape. It's a silly little thing. Silly little piece of abstract art. Well, Henry says Nate is really on the warpath. If he is successful in his plan to taking over Chancellor Winters, that will be epic. Victoria appears to be willing to allow him to put the plot in motion, and Imani is really a negative influence on Nate. Sue W. says, I could get back on board with some once tossed around Nate and Victoria chemistry. Oh, a little bit of a hookup there, huh? But Victoria says, when Nate presented his plan on insider trading to Victoria, I saw her respect for him take a nosedive. I don't think Victoria would have someone who is so disloyal to his family run a new division of Newman. I think Nate has overplayed his hand. I kind of agree with you, Victoria. I was thinking, Victoria doesn't seem as impressed as I think maybe he would have wanted her to be. There was something in there where I thought, I don't think Victoria is 100% buying this. But that doesn't mean she couldn't still have a little smoochy smooch session with him one of these days. Laura says, would Imani fudge the NDA for Nate? What will her role be in the takeover of the company? And what will Elena's role be? Will she spill the beans to Devon? Then will Devon trap Nate in the subterfuge? This is turning out to be a good watch. Oh, yeah. That's a lot. That's a lot of questions because we all see the writing on the wall. All right, Nate has proposed this takeover idea. We know he's out to get Devon. We know what Nate's intention is. We also know that Devon is now maybe going to try to smooth the waters, bring Nate back into the company. He's basically going to let the Trojan horse right in through the gate. But the two other factors here are Elena and Imani. One we might end up seeing working against Nate, and we might see one ending up working with Nate. But who's going to be who? I think we know that Elena's in a difficult position. And would she tell Devon? Would she betray Nate and tell Devon? I think she would. And would Imani maybe fudge some of the paperwork to be on Nate's side and help him accomplish all of this? Absolutely. Daisy says, I would love to see Nate and Billy join forces to create their own business. Something that would be very popular. Not a podcast, though. Anything but a podcast, huh? Yeah, I actually love this idea. Nate and Billy finding a way to work together. They're both a little on the outs. They're the second bananas. The second bananas club. Maybe they could open up a banana stand. That'd be fine with me. I'll buy bananas from the Nate Billy banana stand. No doubt. Oh, Gary says Lily is incredible in how she knows how to deal with others. She deserves to run a company and is a fine diplomat. She knows how to speak her mind and knows how to mend fences. Watch her let Amani have it and then later acknowledge, Amani, I shouldn't have snapped at you. This is a leader and how you get people in your corner to do their best work for you. Yeah, Amani was way out of line, man. They're letting these guys get away with it. And Lily does have the temperament of, okay, I want to hear you out. Gary also says Crystal Khalil is a very natural actress, and some of her best work is in her reactions to what other characters are saying. Crystal really processes the other characters' dialogue and reacts with her facial expressions in the most expressive way. Yeah, this is great, Gary, that her best work is in reacting to other characters around her. You're right. She looks like she's listening and processing and then responding. And that is a natural talent there. Ellen says Lily needs to be more ruthless, like Catherine and Jill. Her pleading tone is not working. Oh, okay, so you don't like that about Lily. She could potentially have that turnaround, though. I mean, if she does everything that she can do to try to save the family and save the family business, and it all backfires right into her face, and despite her best, what'd you call it, Gary? That she was a diplomat. Yes, despite Lily's best diplomatic efforts, if all of this blows up in her face, we could see her have a dark turn or a totally change of approach of how she deals with people. She could decide to end up turning into Victoria. I mean, we had that really interesting run-in between Lily and Victoria this week, and I think there's some parallels that can be driven there or seen there. Lily's the head of her company, Victoria's the head of hers. Victoria is very stern in the way she deals with things, and Lily is very warm, but maybe that's just a little bit of a preview of the path Lily could be headed on. Would you guys like to see that? I wonder. Diana says Lily's shoes were so nice. She had some sexy looking shoes. I didn't see Lily's shoes, but I saw Sally's shoes this week. She had on like some killer black stiletto, like I don't know how many inches that heel was, but I took my daughter to the zoo this week, and those were the exact shoes I wore. You know, when you are in the park, you want to have on your highest high heels in sexy black leather, right? Yeah, I saw Sally's shoes, and I saw Elena's handbags this week. Elena had a cute little, carry this little tiny purse. I could fit a bird in it. I can only fit a bird in my purse, but it's so cute. And then she switched it to another one that had like a handle that was resting on her wrist. Elena had some cute handbags this week. Oh, let's switch it up. Ambrini says, I've been watching Bold and the Beautiful for a month now, so I'm going to be seeing the crossover. I wouldn't mind some other characters mixing it up from both sides. They film at the same studio, so why not? I don't know the history behind Nikki and Deacon. I'd hoped Sheila would mess with some people in Genoa City. I really want to see a joint fashion show. Oh, a joint fashion show would be so good, especially since we've got Marchetti, and we had Nikki saying that she was going to go to the Foresters to get a dress designed for Summer this week, and next week we have Kyle re-proposing to Summer, so we're definitely, maybe that's what it is. Maybe Kyle and Summer's wedding is there so that some Bold and the Beautiful people can cross over. Maybe we'll get the Foresters there in Genoa City to see Summer wearing the dress that they designed for her. Naomi says, what a sweet and realistic conversation Nikki and Victor had. Each of them admitted that they hurt each other, especially when Victor said he knew how much he had hurt Nikki, and she looked at him with forgiveness and love, both showing in their eyes. Their relationship has grown and evolved in a realistic way. I also enjoyed very much the quiet time that Jack and Diane had. If she's scheming, I no longer care. I just really like the way they are together. Yes. Victoria also says it was so nice to see Victor looking more active on my screen. I was glad to see him boxing and then dancing with Nikki. Victor and Nikki's dancing displayed how easy their relationship has become. Victor is finally a great listener to Nikki. Their conversations about their lives seem effortless. Now, if Victor could use these skills with his children. Yes, we're seeing Victor so much more vital on screen. It's amazing. He's become a great listener and a great partner to Nikki. If he could only use these skills with his children. Oh. Well, let's end with Laura here, who says, even though it wasn't the tack room, I loved Victor's boxing scene. Nostalgia. He is in fantastic shape, and I wanted him to join the security team in keeping Nikki safe. Oh, yes, I was cringing when Victor mentioned sending his security team with Nikki to LA. Oh, I mean, I like the idea. I love the protectiveness, but I just kept thinking, oh, you mean the security team that botched the Ashland Lock cover-up? No thanks. I mean, if Deacon ends up dead on the ground with a bunch of cigarette butts and popsicle sticks scattered all around his body, then I guess we'll know who's responsible. We have 2 birthdays this week. Double birthday. First up is Juanita, whose birthday is tomorrow. Oh, happy birthday, Juanita. Tomorrow. And then Southside Granny, you're having a birthday next Saturday, the 24th. Oh my goodness. So what are you guys going to do for your birthday? Are you going to have a party? Or 2 birthdays at this point, just kind of, whatever. That's what I want to know. What's your birthday plans, Juanita and Southside Granny? And are you going to have a cake? I know not everybody does a birthday cake, but I have to have, or a birthday treat. I got to have a birthday treat. It doesn't have to exactly be a cake, but there has to be some sort of birthday eatery. Or maybe you guys want to just pick a... Oh, that's a good question, Juanita and Southside Granny. Okay, let's say you're going out to dinner for your birthdays. Which restaurant would you go to in Genoa City? Not in reality, just in Genoa City. Maybe you just want to stop by the coffee house and have a dessert or something, or you go to Society, or you go up to the dive bar, or maybe you want to go old school and go to the Colonnade Room and really celebrate it up. Let me know. Go to yrchat.com. Leave some comments for me this week. It's always really good to see what everybody's saying throughout the week. And then I will be back next Sunday to give you all of my thoughts and opinions. I love you guys. Have a really good week. Bye.